you went under the wheels.
Affected.
Welcome to Under the Wheels. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Gabe.
And in today's episode, we're getting spectacular and talking about Jordan Peele's Nope. We're going to try and hook in viewers, try and get this out quickly so that everyone who's been seeing the movie can enjoy the episode. So I saw this like a week ago, so some of the details might be cloudy on here.
I saw it opening night, so yeah, I'm definitely a little cloudy.
Did you saw it opening night?
Yeah.
How was it? Was the theater packed?
It was decently full, yeah.
Did you see it in IMAX or regular?
Regular, I think.
Okay. I didn't realize until like after maybe like 2/3 way through the movie that the movie was shot in IMAX. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should go back and see it in IMAX. But I'm sure we'll get to the rewatchability of it in just a second. So, Gabe, what's the general plot of Nope?
Like full spoilers or just the premise?
I guess the premise.
Daniel Kaluuya is the world's oldest 30-year-old.
Hashtag my James Bond.
Yes, he still needs to be James Bond. I keep forgetting he's British, too. Yeah, he definitely has to be James Bond. A completely out of shape James Bond.
He could do it. He could get back in shape.
Well, I like how he's embracing just like playing like these average Joe kind of characters where he doesn't have to be in great shape. Like every other actor tries to be in super sterling shape for everything. He's just like, oh, I'm going to be a little fat and it's fine.
Ladies love the chunkies. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good, mate. It's good, mate. Also, like, he's so low key as well. They're probably like, hey, you want to get in shape? And he'd be like,
No.
nope.
Nope.
Okay. Don't forget, he was also in Black Panther.
I know. He just was barely in that movie.
He was barely in it, but he made such an impression on me. I was like,
Not on me, because I forgot he was in it.
Dang. I just always remember Daniel Kaluuya dancing when everyone else is dancing, like his shoulders going up and down. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. That's
So yeah, Daniel Kaluuya is the world's oldest 30-year-old who
Yes.
trains horses on a ranch in like the valley north of LA. And
Yes.
He spots a UFO, and he's like, that's crazy. And then his sister is like, hey, I'm trying to make it in Hollywood. We should get footage of this UFO and make a lot of money off of it. And he's like, okay. And that's the movie.
It's like Jaws.
It is literally Jaws, but it's probably better than Jaws because Jaws is too long and drags considerably.
Hey, Jaws has that theme song, and I know everyone likes the first like 10 seconds of it, but I prefer the second part where it's like a seafaring adventure part. So don't you badmouth Jaws, all right? Do 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 do. Yeah, that's right. It's an adventure movie disguised as a horror movie.
What's crazy is like Nope has music that sounds awfully like the Jaws theme in it.
The music's awesome. It took me by surprise. I was like, oh. So did the cast.
Dude, the sound design in Nope is pretty impeccable.
Yeah, it's really good.
So yeah, the premise is basically Jaws, but in the sky, and instead of a shark, it's an alien spaceship. And yeah, that's basically the whole plot of the movie, or the whole premise of the movie. There's the sub-premise that is really only there for thematics. Like, you could cut it out of the movie, and the story isn't that... It's not changed mechanically, it's just less interesting. where you have Steve Yeun, who plays a former child actor who was on a sitcom where a monkey like killed a bunch of people, and then grew up to try and monetize that by opening a theme park. And so he's got this theme park that's kind of like down the road from Daniel Kaluuya's ranch, and it just, his storyline exists almost completely independently of everything else in the movie.
It certainly feels that way.
Yeah, like I said, it's mainly there for like thematic reasons, but it's also like interesting on its own. Like it's one of those things, like you could definitely cut it from the movie and nothing has changed in terms of the mechanics of the plot. However, the movie would be less interesting.
Right. So what did you think of Nope?
I thought it was really good. It's like a high witness, low shiny type of range.
Yeah, we're going to be pretty similar on this. I think high witness, low shiny. It was really good. It's funny because like I think a lot of people are getting like fumbling kind of like on the story because the stuff, it like the movie starts with the Gordy's home stuff, and Gordy's home was in the context of the movie is like a sitcom starring an ape, but it's sort of like this infamous sitcom starring an ape. And it feels very disconnected, but they put it out there in front, and it's almost like the whole like Rosebud magic trick with Citizen Kane, where it's like, ooh, I wonder what the point of this is, and they go back to it and talk about it a little bit. But by the end of the movie, you're like, okay, but wait, what kind of impact did that have on this like cowboy space alien story that's going on with the references to Fry's Electronics? And I think that's kind of the charm of it, is like a lot of the time when we watch a big budget movie, there's nothing to think about. There's no connections you need to make. The themes are very, very explicitly stated. And in here, the theme is pretty much explicitly stated, especially by the quote at the beginning. But it leaves you also wondering, like, oh, are the themes running parallel? Are they integrated into the story, or are they like the foundation and then the rest of the story builds upon it, and then you think about the themes? So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the whole Gordy's home stuff and the subplot with Steve Yeun's character, it is really just like it's riffing on the themes, which again, yeah, you mentioned like there's a quote at the beginning of the movie that states exactly, what the movie is about. So there's no ambiguity as to what the themes of this movie are. But yeah, it's just kind of riffing on that, because there's a lot of parallels between Gordy's home and then kind of what our heroes have to deal with this spaceship.
Yeah, and it's also fun because, again, I think a lot of people are going to come out and be like, well, what was the point of all of the Gordy's home stuff, which I'm sure we'll talk about when we kind of get into spoilers. But that's where like the fun of the movie, to me, that's where part of the fun of the movie lies. The other part is obviously that it's just a giant spectacle with a bunch of character actors that I really like. So, or I should say 2 character actors that I really like, and like a handful of other actors who kind of appear, and I'm like, oh, hey, they're there. So like obviously, you know, you have Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer as the leads, and you have Steven Yeun as the kind of like another principal character. Yeah. But I'm a big fan. Well, okay, I'm not a big fan, but I really like Michael Wincott, the guy who plays as the cinematographer.
I love Michael Wincott.
Oh, good, right? We're on the same page. He's great as Guy of Gisborne, but he's even better in Count of Monte Cristo. So anytime he pops up, I'm like, oh, Michael Wincott. I know him. What a great Canadian actor.
I know him from voice. Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man.
Really?
Yeah, he's great in that movie.
Michael Wincott, like, he's another guy who he's pretty much always great in things, just because his voice is so perfect for everything.
Yeah,
you know, like,
when he always plays these sort of unhinged or weirdly intense characters. So it works really well. He's always fun.
Yeah, he is. He was in like that movie where Robert De Niro plays like a movie producer, and Michael Wincott was like the unhinged director that wanted to like kill the dog in a Sean Penn movie, and, and he was the best part of the movie. And then Keith David, he's always great, even though he's not in it very much.
I was gonna say, like, Keith David shows up at the very beginning of the movie. I'm like, ah, sweet, Keith David, and then he dies immediately. I'm like, shit. How dare you,
I know.
Jordan
It's
Peele?
such a
Don't
shame.
do that to me.
Come on, I wonder if it was also like a trade-off of like Keith David does like just enough movies so that he can, keep his quality of life where he wants it to be, but doesn't want to do too much work because he's getting up there in age.
Yeah, but I mean, have you seen some of the movies that Keith David has appeared in recently?
No, aside from Nope. What else has he been in?
He shows up in like best of the worst quality stuff.
Oh, nowadays,
yeah.
Such a shame. He's so good.
He is.
Let's
Like,
see,
if we made a movie with a budget of 20 grand, we could spend 10 grand on Keith David for sure. Like, judging by some of the stuff he's been in, I'm pretty sure we could get him.
I know. I was looking at this and I just saw Catwoman Hunted, and I was like, "Oh, that's an animated movie. That makes sense." The Prank, Unplugged. Hey, he's in DC League of Super Pets.
I mean, he's still he still does a lot of voice work because his voice is such an icon.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. But even in some of these movies, I think he's only in there for like a cameo to get a paycheck. Like The Seventh Day, starring Guy Pearce and Stephen Lang. It's just a shame. He's such a great character actor. He's so iconic. It's like people hear his voice and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. I don't know why I know that guy." And it's like, man, everyone
it's
should
Goliath
know.
from Gargoyles.
Or Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog for any female listeners out there. Also, Oz Perkins makes an appearance.
He does.
Which did you end up seeing this with Austin?
No.
Okay. I wonder if I'm hoping Austin saw that and he was like, "Yeah, Oz Perkins."
You're hoping Austin creamed his jeans when Oz Perkins showed up. I know who that is.
No, because he likes Oz Perkins movies, and so the idea that like Daniel,
he's an Oz Perkins fan.
So the idea that like Daniel Kaluuya is like who brought out a horse for a commercial directed by Oz Perkins to me is like, it's like, hey, this is great. This is so fun. It's like Jordan Peele called up all of his buddies and he's like, hey guys, I need you in a cameo. I can't get Quentin Tarantino or David Gordon Green. Oz Perkins, can you be in it? And then also, I saw Terry Notary was in the cast, and I was like, ooh, Terry Notary, I wonder who he's going to be. And then you see the darn ape walking around, and I was like, oh, hey, look, it's Terry Notary. He only does motion capture apes now. Terry Notary's great. But yeah, so
I thought that was Andy Serkis.
No, Andy Serkis is finally getting roles where he doesn't have to do the freaking motion capture. I love how like in Star Wars it's like, we got Andy Serkis to be motion captured for this character. Like, why? He looks just like a human. Why didn't you just cast Andy Serkis and give him makeup? Why?
We got Andy Serkis to do mocap for the CGI Luke Skywalker. You see Luke Skywalker walking around like a monkey. He's like on his knuckles the whole time.
He's on his knuckles. He starts picking out little flies from his hair, and it's like, wow, man, this deep fake technology's really come a long way. Oh man. I will say like a lot of people love Keke Palmer in this movie, and she's good, but I also found her character really annoying.
Oh man. If her character was written to be useless and annoying for the entire movie except the very end, Keke Palmer played it perfectly. Because that's what her character is, useless and annoying until the very end.
Hey, she stole some horses.
It's like, oh god. She, like, everything that, like, I don't know why, it's just her character is so obnoxious, it makes you empathize with Daniel Kaluuya's character even more. Where it's like, man, he's like this struggling rancher trying to like make it work, make some money, running his dad's family business, and then supposedly here to help, but somehow ends up thwarting him at every turn as his idiot sister.
That's the thing is like it obviously it doesn't help the way they introduce her where, she's late. They need her so that they can do the safety spiel and make sure that everything is okay and nothing goes bad. And then she shows up late. And then when she's there, she's just promoting herself. And it's like, man, she sure is a selfish character. And I think the idea is like, as the movie progresses, she's supposed to get less annoying and less selfish. And to me, that doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen. Not at all. No, because it's like every time Daniel Kaluuya's character, OJ, Otis Jr., is out doing something, she's just like drunk and listening to music in the house. Like she's having a party by herself. Meanwhile, he's like, let me go like find this alien or whatever.
And she's constantly like, hey, can I get some money? And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
This character's so nice. She's like, I'm an actor, producer, and I'm like, oh my God, I know this.
So
person.
Basically, you're a waiter, is what I'm hearing. You're a waiter / barista.
No. Actually, she just doesn't do anything.
She's a layabout.
That's what we found out.
Yeah,
she actually doesn't do anything,
including not helping her brother at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's like frustrating. Like the people who are like, oh yeah, she's great. Like I get it, but also her character's incredibly annoying.
She's great at playing the worst character.
I think there's supposed to be
a thing. Like that is technically her job. That's what she's being paid to do, is play this obnoxious brat.
To a degree, but then there's supposed if there's one thing, it's like there's supposed to be a shift where all of a sudden it's not just about herself.
But the shift is all of a sudden. Is the thing.
If it's even there, because
no, it is in the last 5 minutes of the movie that she's like, you know what, I will make myself useful for the very first time and beat the alien myself. And it's like, oh wow, this really came out of nowhere.
While also getting the picture, of the alien that also looks kind of fake, but it's fine. It's fine.
This is clearly CGI. Well, yeah, it's a movie.
Well, no. But they're like, oh, no one has gotten a clear picture, and it's like, okay, but then you go on on r/creepypasta, and it's like, hey, look, this looks like the photo you just took. You must know how to use Photoshop.
Well, yeah, I mean, we live in an age where you can fake anything and everything.
It's
why I don't even trust like raw footage of whatever anymore. It's just like, well, that could have been faked. It could have been staged.
Pretty much. Well, so I guess it sounds like I'm trying to like nitpick. It's not nearly as it's not really that much of a nitpick. I'm just goofing off. Like I thought the whole movie, like the construction of the entire movie, was really good.
Yeah. No, like I said, in contrast to Jaws, which is weirdly slow for huge sections of it.
For being like the blockbuster event everyone needs to go to. It's like, oh yay, this extended scene of him eating dinner with his family. This extended scene of them drunk on a boat. Yeah, I get it.
All of these extended scenes of townspeople going like, what's going on?
It's the town meeting. This is boring. I'm falling asleep. Oh, thank God. There's nails on a chalkboard. Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. Nope does not have that problem. There's like everything that's there works as it is, where it is. It's paced pretty much perfectly. It moves along really well. It's got a lot of good humor in it.
Yeah, it does. There's my personal favorite moment is when Daniel Kaluuya is looking outside the car, and they have just figured out that so he's looking out the car. He sees something overhead. He slowly pulls back in, very casually closes the door, And it looks past the camera. He's just, nope.
Nope.
It's like, dude, that's so perfect. It's so relatable and so perfect.
Well, it's like there's the thing with like maybe I would say Us is a lot of the comedy in that. There's a lot of comedy in that movie up front, and then there's nothing for the rest of it.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of the comedy in that movie is very. It's like, hey guys, here's a joke.
Isn't Winston Duke funny?
Yeah. Whereas like, and then Get Out, there's like a comedic character, so he's the entire comedy of the movie, and then the rest of it is like, you know, it's a little funny, like with all the Allison Williams' family being like
super like, I voted for Obama.
Boy, I sure love unseasoned chicken. Like her family that's like that.
I love Bradley Whitford though. I love him. That's an actor.
So there's some light comedy there that like kind of works. Whereas like all the humor in Nope just is ingrained through the movie where like horrible shit is happening and then something funny that is within character for someone to do happens. I'm like, that's pretty funny. And there's a lot of humor just mined from Daniel Kaluuya's kind of unwillingness to get involved with anything. He's like, I'm just trying to live my life. I don't want any problems. I have enough already. So yeah, he's just like the alien spaceship is looming overhead, like wreaking havoc and destruction, and he's like, should I intervene? Nah.
He's literally just so over all of this bullshit. He's just so done with it. I love it. I completely forgot that there was that moment where he had come back from I think Emerald had stolen the horses. And so he comes back in and he sees the aliens and he's just like, he just has that look on his face, just like, what the fuck, man? Like, what the hell is this shit? And he starts walking like, I'm just gonna backpedal. I think he even says nope. He's like, nope. Starts backpedaling. Then obviously things escalate in kind of a comedic way, but yeah, it's you know, Daniel Kaluuya is the anchor that kind of sets the tone for the movie.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's like a good. Okay, so on another end, I mean, if you want to, we can start talking about spoilers in the plot. I was just going to say that one thing I really liked was that it's like an original idea. It's doing really well in theaters right now. It was expensive to make because I thought this movie was like an independent film. This movie is $68 million to make. So
yeah, it's a Universal monster movie.
Ooh. Good point. We're gonna get the Dark
like
Universe.
It's part of the Dark Universe.
Yeah, you get Jaws in there, and you get Frankenstein, and Tom Cruise as the Mummy. Ooh! And the alien. This alien, not Alien. Does Universal own Alien? No, that's Fox.
I don't think so.
That's 20th Century. But yeah, I was surprised at how big the budget was, but I'm glad that it's doing well because it's like, I think Jordan Peele wrote the movie and he wrote it in a time where he was worried that like original movies were dying and the only thing you could do is watch a spectacle, and then he kind of like came out with this idea where it's like it is a spectacle, but within it is mixed. It's like you know, the great filmmakers who take, you know, oh my god, what's the word? Orson Welles making, I can't think of the movie. The one with where he plays a big fat man, which is like every Orson Welles movie. But
Chimes of Midnight.
F for fake. The one with Charlton Heston, where Charlton Heston's playing like a Mexican, and
so is this the one with the giant long take at the beginning?
Yeah, and I can't think of. Oh my god, what's it called? But he was like, "Give me your worst script, and I'll turn it into gold." And it was so good that I forgot the name of it. Touch of Evil. I knew it. Touch of Evil. It's like Touch of Evil is such a generic story, but Orson Welles is able to like add these little character moments, these little details that help to make it more than just a boring B movie.
Yeah.
Although I was kind of bored while I was watching it. But it's kind of like the same with Nope, except it's better because Nope is like an original idea where he can truly connect everything that he needs, or not connect it, and leave it up for the audience interpretation.
Yeah, it's like Peele and Nolan are basically the only two people who can do this.
As writer-directors?
As people. Like, they're the only people who seem to be able to make original movies that get big budgets and that do well in theaters. So it's like, I'm really hoping there's some third person who can join them.
Yeah, well, what's his name? The Northman. Yeah, that did not.
Except The Northman didn't make enough money.
That did not make the money.
Even though that movie's fucking badass.
I know, it's pretty awesome. I really love The Northman. I actually really liked this. I feel like when the end of the year comes around and we look back, I'm gonna be like, you know what? Nope was a great movie because it hits all of the targets.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching it and I was like, could my wife watch this movie? Of course, this was after all of the blood had rushed out on the house, and I was like, nope. She couldn't watch. She wouldn't like this one. But like, there's nothing in it that's, aside from the monkey scene and that scene, there's nothing in it that's and the very beginning with Keith David's eyeball. There's the rest of it's not too terrible. It's just like very tense, and then it turns into an adventure movie basically, where they're trying to
it turns
get
into
pictures.
Jaws. That's the thing.
Jaws was an inspiration for the movie. Jaws and Close Encounters of the Third Kind were inspirations.
I mean, it is literally Jaws meets Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
But it's the thing. It's like, it's not. It has like select moments that are fairly violent, but it's not that violent. And it has a couple bits that are disturbing, but they're more disturbing like when you think about it. They're not like viscerally disturbing while you're watching.
Yeah.
So should we get into spoilers?
Yeah.
All right. So
Spoiler, the best thing about the movie for me was the Akira cameo. Anyway. I did the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. I was like putting out this Akira reference. I know that movie. I'm cool. Anyway, okay, but yeah, spoilers. Go ahead.
So the UFO is not a ship; it's a creature.
Yes.
And it's not abducting things; it's eating them.
Yeah.
And it lives.
It's Orson Welles.
It's Orson.
Rest in peace. Sorry, go ahead.
It's late career Elvis.
They got Brendan Fraser for a cameo since he was in the process of getting all that weight for the whale or whatever.
I love that Darren Aronofsky is making a movie about a fat guy and it's called The Whale. That'll do well with the body positivity crowd.
Oh, Darren Aronofsky. But instead of actually casting like a big guy, he was like, all of the people who are like, you know, like, oh, you have to be this. It's like, we cast Brendan Fraser, who was only kind of heavy, and he put on a ton of weight for this movie.
We're casting deep fake Dom DeLuise.
We just spliced a bunch of footage from my 600-pound life together and deep faked someone's face on it. And all right.
So yeah, the alien, the ship is the alien.
Yes.
And Steve Yeun, who is forever had his brain destroyed by the Gordy's home incident, is now repeating it in real life. He's got this Star Lasso show where he tempts the alien to eat horses as bait and uses it as this kind of spectacle. But much like these animal trainers tried to control Gordy and couldn't. He couldn't control the UFO, so the UFO eats him, his entire family, and a bunch of other just bystanders, and also eats the girl who got her face ripped off by Gordy from Gordy's home, so she suffers the same fate twice.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, because there's something about that that's, like, weird, but yes.
It's like that poor woman.
Ironically,
gets her face ripped off by a chimp, and then gets eaten by an alien in the exact same scenario.
Ironically, the horse that survives, named Lucky, was just too bored to go out and satiate the creature. So the creature got mad. So Lucky lived.
Yeah. So OJ, Daniel Kaluuya's character, because he's an animal trainer and knows his shit, figures this out. He's like, the UFO is not a ship, it is an animal. So you have to treat it like it's an animal. And he develops a system for how to interact with it. And the last chunk of the movie is OJ, his sister, the dude from Fry's Electronics, who helps them set up their security cameras that they use to watch the alien, and the cinematographer played by Michael Wincott, who's obsessed with getting footage of animals eating other animals.
Who has an analog camera.
Yeah, because the ship disrupts electronics.
Yeah.
So he's got a crank film camera. They set up this elaborate trap that's really fun and cool to catch footage of the alien. And it almost goes off without a hitch, except this biker dude from TMZ who
with
looks
an electric bike.
With an electric bike. Who looks like a science fiction character because of his weird helmet.
He's got a reflective helmet. Which is plot important. It's plot important. So
he shows up, gets eaten immediately in hilarious fashion.
Get a picture. Dude, your camera is electric. It does not work.
Yeah. He dies hilariously and gets eaten. They get the footage, but it goes wrong because Michael Wincott is overcome by his own insanity and hurls himself into the mouth of the beast while trying to get footage of it. And then the alien ends up destroying everything. But Keke Palmer, after doing absolutely nothing but being loud and thwarting her brother's attempts to make money and live a drama-free life, decides, you know what? I'm going to save the day. And she does. She saves the day. She gets the alien to chase her into Steve Yeun's roped-off amusement park and kills the alien with a giant balloon while also getting a photo of it.
And then, at the very end, what do you see? Daniel Kaluuya lived.
Daniel Kaluuya lives on a horse framed in smoke with badass Western music. I'm like, hell yeah, that's how you end a movie.
Because this movie isn't a science fiction movie or a horror movie. It's a freaking mix of Western, science fiction, horror, political or social commentary. Very little.
It's Cowboy Jaws is what it is.
It's Cowboy Jaws, which also sounds badass. And hey, they shoot it in they wanted a big, vast spectacle type place. They shoot it in an area with a bunch of mountains. So you get all of this great, scenery, and the house is great to look at. It's nice and fun and appropriate because you've got your foils with Steven Yeun and Daniel Kaluuya, the guy who's trying to control the predator and who's also referenced to Everything Everywhere because Steven Yeun's supposed to basically be Short Round. But anyway, and the guy who played as Short Round is in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it's all just very I want to get out my conspiracy board and start putting little pins in it. But Daniel Kaluuya actually understands predators, and then the balloon that pops triggers Gordy, and then it's a giant balloon popping that destroys the big predator. I was like, oh, so good, so satisfying. All these little Chekhov's gun moments that are nicely layered in, but very subtly layered in. So
yeah, well, it's also like, you know, there's this whole thing running throughout the movie of people trying to tame wild animals for the sake of spectacle, and how that ends up disastrously.
Yep.
And then Daniel Kaluuya, who's the only person in the entire movie who understands animals and shows them their due respect, you know, is able to solve the mystery and give the rest of the characters a blueprint for how to beat the alien.
Yeah. Did you, so I don't know if you knew this, but I used to work at Fry's.
I didn't know that.
So when I saw Fry's there, I was like, oh, this is fun because Fry's is out of business. It's like a nice little like nod homage to them because they're a terrible company. And then I was reading a bunch of articles about how like, you know, like Nope revitalized Fry's, and they're talking about how like Charlie Fry and all of the Fry brothers were like, we're so happy to be a part of this movie and be immortalized. And they're like, yeah, these local Bay Area, you know, do-it-yourself family men. And I was like, dude, no, these guys are terrible. Have you ever actually bought anything at Fry's? It's all crap. Like, no wonder none of the cameras worked. You bought them at Fry's. Like, come on, guys. But yeah, so when they went in there to the Fry's employee and he looked like bored as shit and he was just super unhappy with his job and his life at that moment, I was like, yep. I knew many people at Fry's like that. So I was like, that's oddly appropriate, even though kind of the talk about the Fry's element is like, oh, it's like when Blockbuster appeared in Captain Marvel, isn't it great? Look at what we're missing. I'm like, you know what? Fry's.
You know what? I'm gonna say something. Blockbuster, not that great.
You know what? It wasn't. And guess what? Neither was Hollywood Video.
Yeah, Hollywood Video, not that great either.
They were both bad things. Like, really the only, yeah, especially like when you had cartridge games, like you're playing your Super Nintendo, which you don't know about because, you know, it wasn't around when you were born. But you're playing your cartridge games and like you go to load it up and it's like you'd been renting this game for like a week, but you grab the wrong copy and there's already a completed file of The Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, and you're like, well, that sucks. And you play it and then you get your ass kicked by the final boss, and it's just like, okay, renting games. Or you go to rent a game and you get the one disc there, the last copy they have of this game you really wanted to play, and it's scratched, and it's like,
you see, that was your problem. You were renting games from Hollywood Video. What you should have done is you should have gone to GameStop and just bought the game used for like $3.
Depending on the game, you couldn't get it that cheap, especially like the newer games. They'd always have them at the video stores so you could rent it.
That's
true. Marvel versus Capcom for $5.99, and for some reason we all thought that was an affordable price to rent a game for like a week. You play it for 2 days, it just sits there, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, I didn't realize like until quite a while that like Netflix was the way to go. It was just like you pay a subscription fee, you get DVDs in the mail. Their selection is way better than anything on, you know, at Hollywood Video or Blockbuster because they have every fucking movie there.
Yeah, everyone said like streaming killed the service, but Netflix DVD service, which spun off onto its own different service, which is like DVDs.com or whatever.
I enjoyed Netflix's DVD by mail service so much. We kept it long after Netflix started their streaming service and tried to kill off the DVDs by mail.
Do you still have it?
No, we canceled it. Like my family and I canceled it maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
But we kept it for a long time. And didn't have Netflix streaming because we're like, oh, why do we need streaming? Because the DVD service has more movies than the streaming service does.
Right, and until they started releasing their original content that you had to watch there, which for you probably would have been like the first season of Daredevil.
It was. I stole my friend's login literally just to watch Daredevil.
Okay, all right.
And that's it.
There you go.
Daredevil and Maniac.
I actually I was doing both for a while, but when the streaming first started, I had to do it for a film class because the person was like, it was like a film appreciation or intro to film studies, and they're like, all right, so these documentaries that you have to watch, I don't want you to buy them, but they should be streaming on Netflix. But of course, that was before everyone understood the model that Netflix did for streaming, where like they would have a couple of documentaries on there, and then they would cycle those out and put a bunch of new movies on. But yeah, but the DVD service was fantastic because, like, unlike streaming where you start getting like you get like this long list of like, oh yeah, I need to watch these movies. Like, if you're getting movies in the mail, you get it in and you're like, I need to optimize how many movies I can get in a week.
I know.
Or in a month. The other thing, I gotta watch this thing now.
Well, the other thing, it's like, there's all this searching. It's like you get presented with a bunch of options. And you're like, oh, which of these many options should I see? Do they have the movie I was thinking of? No, they don't. With the DVD by mail service, you're struck by an idea. You're like, hey, I need to watch Sergio Corbucci's Django. You go to the website, type in Django. They got it, because of course they do. They have every fucking movie. And then you get it in the mail 2 days later, watch it, send it back. It's like, great, that worked really well. Meanwhile, it's like, does Netflix streaming have any movie from before 1993? No.
I mean, it does.
Okay, they have 3 movies from before 1993.
They have Taxi Driver on Netflix right now.
At times, they will have Taxi Driver. But it's like most movies on Netflix are 90s or later.
Right.
Where it's like, what if I want to watch, I don't know, 8.5?
Yeah, you have to.
DVD.com probably has it.
DVD.com probably has it. Yeah, and no, yeah, I'm with you. I'm like I could go into the weeds on this question, but no, and even if you wanted to watch those, it's very hard to find them on Netflix because you have to dig. Because like you'll start typing in like Django, and the first thing that'll come up is like movies related to Django Unchained, and it's whatever Tarantino movies they have on there plus a bunch of like these other weird movies, and it's like this isn't this isn't what I wanted at all. So yeah, I mean they do have Mission Impossible on Netflix. I brought it up right now because I was like, oh yeah, like their library. It's funny because like the Netflix library isn't terrible, but they don't really. I mean, they do have the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But it's not near, like, you're gonna go on Netflix and you're gonna be like, ooh, that looks good, ooh, that looks good, ooh, that looks good, and you're never gonna watch any of them. Like, I had Leon the Professional in my list for like a year and a half, and I finally got around to watching it. Why? Because I was like, I need to watch it.
Had you never seen it before?
I had never seen it before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, little creeped out by the love story between 13-year-old Natalie Portman.
I was gonna say, nothing I can say about that movie will ever prepare someone who hasn't seen it for how awesome and how creepy that movie is.
Yeah, and Gary Oldman's great. Like, it's funny watching it now because Gary Oldman is seen as like, oh, this amazing actor, but I feel like back then there are people who'd be like, yeah, isn't Gary Oldman amazing in this movie? And other people who are like, Gary Oldman cannot stop chewing the scenery in this movie, and it's very distracting. But now that we've watched so much Gary Oldman where he's gone in all sorts of different directions, we look at it and we're like, God, he was always a master. He was always a master actor.
How did Gary Oldman gain all that weight to play Winston Churchill? It's from chewing scenery in all the other movies.
Okay, Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill in Darkest Hour is good, but I think not John LaRoquette. Oh my God, why am I so bad with names today? Jeez, I gotta get his name now. The guy from Third Rock from the Sun, the dad, who's also almost always good in everything he's in.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
No, the dad.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
John Lithgow as Winston Churchill is like, I think John Lithgow is my Winston Churchill.
Daniel Kaluuya is my Winston Churchill.
Oh my God, can we see that movie? It's just Darkest Hour, but with Daniel Kaluuya in it.
I'd pay money for that. I would watch that over the actual Darkest Hour.
I wonder if Brian Tyree Henry would play Winston Churchill.
I'd definitely be down for that.
Like, I understand that I'm just body shaming because I'm like, oh, Brian Tyree Henry's a bigger actor.
He's a bigger guy. Yeah, he could.
He knows how to throw his weight around in a scene. Okay, all right. No, he's great. I like Widows was the first movie I saw him in. So yeah, I was like, who's this guy? And then I saw him in that. I was like, man, he's awesome. And lately though, he's been kind of just dialing it in for his movies.
Yeah, it's too bad. He hasn't been in anything like really good lately.
Yeah. You mean you didn't like Godzilla versus Kong or
Jesus.
Kong versus
We've been over
Godzilla?
this, man.
You didn't like Eternals, which crapped out on the audio for you? It's also like, as an aside, it's so weird watching Eternals and then like watching Game of Thrones and looking at Kit Harington being like this like funny, calm, chill, upbeat dude in Eternals, where he's like, wait, why didn't you get, he's like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, and then you watch Game of Thrones and you're just like, I've got decisions to make and none of them are good. You're like, man, this guy's so dour and depressing and like,
Sam, I can't take this ring anymore. Oh, sorry, wrong franchise.
dude, this just proof that all great, well, we'll just put little
Every
brackets
great
around
movie
great.
protagonist has a sidekick that's either named Sam or Goose. I don't know why.
And they're fat. They're Sam.
They're either fat or dead.
You know what's
It's
funny
either a
is-
fat guy named Sam or a dead guy named Goose. That's how it is.
Game of Thrones. Talk to me, Goose. Gosh, yeah. Samwell Tarly, budget Samwise Gamgee. Samwell Tarly's not bad, but
Goose from Top Gun is budget Goose from Mad Max.
I want to rewatch. I do want to rewatch the original Mad Max. I also want to watch Witches of Eastwick. I haven't. Witches of Eastwick scarred me when I was a kid. Because it was on TV and I was like chilling and kind of watching it with my mom, and all of a sudden like that crazy woman, she's like been eating cherries like the entire movie. And like I don't know if this happened, which is why I need to watch the movie, but like I just remember her like muttering something, kind of going crazy, and then puking out all of the cherry seeds on her hands. I was like, I was literally scarred from that for like a long time. And like Jack Nicholson being creepy and weird stuff happening. And I was like, I can't do this movie. And then I found out it was directed by George,
Miller.
oh my God. George Miller. I'm terrible with names today. I found out it was directed by George Miller and I was like, I gotta wade back in and see what happened. Like, why? Like, what is this movie? Jack Nicholson, what are you doing? Were you nominated for an Academy Award? Probably. Because who's in it? It's like Susan Sarandon and...
I don't know, man. I haven't seen it.
They made a show about it. How could you not have seen it? Oh, wait. It's a
They make
novel
a
by
show
John
out of everything.
Updike?
That makes sense.
Is
Everything is
Does it?
secretly a novel by John.
John Updike. Oh, I'm sorry. Cher, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Susan Sarandon.
It's either John Updike or the guy who wrote The World According to Garp,
Who
whose
I
name
don't know.
escapes me, and whose novels I read and wrote coverage for a movie studio.
John Irving?
John Irving, that's right.
I just suddenly on like HBO Max, they were like Garp, and it was like, what's his name? Robin Williams. And I was like, what is this? I've never heard of a movie called Garp. Oh, The World According to Garp. What is this? Yeah, I don't know what this is. So
Yeah. I mean, if you've seen the Cider House Rules, you've seen basically every John Irving book.
oh, did he do the Cider House Rules as well?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
World According to Garp, A Prayer for Owen Meany, The Cider House Rules.
That one other Robin Williams movie where he cures people with laughter
Oh,
that
God,
everyone
not that
cited
one.
during the COVID pandemic.
Oh, yeah, Avenue of Mysteries was the book I read
Oh,
before it was published. It's crazy how like publishers will get their hands on a book and before it's published start shopping it around to movie studios.
yeah. That's how Dances with Wolves got made. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I was an intern and I just get this PDF of a John Irving book. And I'm like, oh boy, a John Irving book. I'll read that.
And you were like, "Huh, this feels very similar to the Cider House Rules."
This is like, yeah, this is weirdly similar to the Cider House Rules. Yeah, so Nope, the movie we're actually here to talk about.
Yeah, I know. Fun fact, you know how you mentioned that Jordan Peele and Christopher Nolan in the same sentence? Yeah. Well, Nope was shot by Hoyt van Hoytema.
It was.
So, I mean, there you
did you dislike the cinematography as much as you generally seem to bitch about Hoyt van Hoytema? Who I think is a fine cinematographer, and that your dislike is unreasonable.
I think he's fine. I think he's overrated. That's all. So did I like his cinematography? I'm gonna quote the title of the film. Nope, no. I thought it was fine. I thought it was good.
I thought it was good. I thought the highlight of the movie was really the ship flying through the clouds, or like pretending to be a cloud.
Yeah, or like where it's like the POV, or I'm gonna call it, it's not a Kurosawa shot, but like where the camera's kind of loose and it does that CG camera move where it's like 1917, where it's like, oh, we got to pan up to see the thing fly through, and then pan back down to the main character to show he's still there, and pan back up, and
all that shit's great.
Yeah. The creature design too was cool, and the way that like they would capture how vast the creature was. Mm-hmm. I also liked that.
Yeah, I think the best...
I do shit on him a lot, don't I?
You do.
I was like,
that's what I'm talking about. Like, you're like, he's not that good. Dunkirk,
yeah, I thought it was. I mean, like Ad Astra, I liked, but like Spectre was whatever. I'm looking forward to seeing him do Oppenheimer. I like Wally Pfister better. Okay, and not because his name is Pfister. Okay, just get that off the ground. But I liked Wally Pfister as his cinematographer.
You intercepted me before I could make a joke. You only like Wally because of...
Anyway, we'll get off of that. But yeah, the cinematography was good. And especially because they had a character who was a cinematographer. Yep. That was also like, a fun touch. So the cinematography has to be really good.
But yeah, I think... I thought the cinematography was really good. I think the way they capture the landscape in the movie is really good. The way they capture the sky in the movie is really good.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Peele had a quote where he was like, he was saying something like, it's like, yeah, when I was writing the movie, I was spending a lot of time just staring at clouds. And I was like, I wonder if I could make that cool. And he did. It worked.
He's clearly never watched Ron, which is all about the movement of clouds.
It's all about that one dude's pancake makeup. That's what the movie's really about.
Pancake makeup?
Yeah. The dad, he's got like 2 inches of makeup sticking out of his face in all scenes. Especially when he's traumatized. He's like, this is my traumatized mask of makeup. That's what the movie's really about. That and how if you try hard enough, you can actually break 3 arrows. Ape together, not as strong as you think, Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar, what are you talking about? Also, monkey. That movie is just that movie's just proof against what you think about Shakespeare and how much you hate him, because Shakespeare is great in every language, especially Japanese. Like, honestly, I know Macbeth more from Throne of Blood than I do from Macbeth.
I know Macbeth more from like hyper stylish Western adaptations of Macbeth than the actual play.
The actual text. It's the same with King Lear. I know it through Ron more than I know it through anything else. I will say, like, I should go back and reread Macbeth I should go back and read Macbeth to see if they have like an elongated monologue of a guy talking about how another guy has an incredible fighting style. Because bar none, those are my favorite moments in Shakespeare plays. Like, I'm like, dude, this is some anime shit right here. Like, You must not dance with Tybalt. He is the king of cats because of the way he fights. Look at how he jousts and parries. And I'm like, dude, this shit's awesome. I'm here for it. The original the original shonen manga writer, William Shakespeare.
William Shakespeare.
But speaking of Nope,
One Piece is actually an adaptation of the Henriad.
I thought you were going to say One Piece is actually just Jaws, but in anime form.
It's like Pirates of the Caribbean. They keep making new ones even though no one likes it.
Are you talking about One Piece again?
Yeah. And Pirates of the Caribbean.
If we ever get 1 million subscribers, we should work our way through the Nope. Dude, a Nope manga would be awesome. The One Piece manga.
Oh,
Just
hell
like
no.
the manga. We can get through it quickly. You know, it's only 20 years of stories. Not the show. I'm not watching the show.
That comic book has been running longer than I've been alive.
Has it really? Did it really come out? Wow. You know what? And it's usually on like the top of the list. Like it's still popular. Obviously, it's gonna lose popularity because it's like Superman comics in the 90s. They're just gonna come out with like a surprise issue where they kill the main character, whose name I think is Laffy.
Luffy.
But I don't know. Luffy. They're just gonna kill Luffy, and like people are gonna be crying, and really he's not gonna die. Well, they probably have. It's manga, so he's probably died at least once. So what am I saying?
No, it's not Dragon Ball Z. You don't die and come back.
It's not Dragon Ball Z and or Bleach and or Naruto.
Naruto
Where
doesn't die.
Does he not?
Everyone else dies and comes back, but he doesn't.
Did you actually ever finish Naruto?
Nope. I gave up on it when I was 14, and then it concluded. So I was like, oh, how did it end? And then I looked up the ending, and it was like, I don't know, something about how like everything that happens in the story is a secret conspiracy about aliens from the moon.
That's right. We've talked about this before.
So I'm like, okay, that is the dumbest shit I have ever read in my entire life. I'm glad I gave up on it.
I hear the last fight between Naruto and Sasuke is worth watching, so maybe one of these days I'll YouTube that.
Okay, One Piece is not quite as old as I am, but it is almost as old as I am.
But it's getting there. It's funny because this movie obviously has an anime reference, but apparently also Jordan Peele likes Evangelion, and so part of the inspiration for the movie came from that, according to Wikipedia, which I think is hilarious.
Well, I mean, the UFO, when it transforms, definitely looks like one of the angels from Evangelion.
Is that worth watching? Should I watch Evangelion?
I recommend it to everyone because I think anime is mostly trash. But it's like Neon Genesis Evangelion is one of like 3 good shows ever. 3 unequivocally good shows. It's like that, Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo. Everything else is either crap or like very mixed. Like you don't like Tenchi Muyo? What?
Anyway, you were saying?
Well, it's like I really like Trigun, except for the fact that like huge swaths of it are incomprehensible. For example, so I can't give like an unequivocal recommendation for Trigun.
Okay.
But I can for Neon Genesis Evangelion, even though a lot of people hate that show.
I hear it like really breaks down at the end, that they had a lot of problems getting everything done, so like the end of the show is just
I like the ending of the show, but you really have to have an open mind with it.
Yeah.
Because it resolves everything like thematically and character-wise, but if you were expecting a standard anime ending, you'll be sorely disappointed.
I just remember watching a video from Dan Olsen where it's like at the very end, the main character, like in kind of sketchy form, throws his fist in the air and he's like, "The world isn't a cruel, dark place." And then it ends, and then people were mad. So then there's another movie that came out where he like is masturbating into his hand or something.
The movie is weird.
What's
crazy is like Evangelion is 3 endings, right? It's got the ending of the show, which I like, but it's very like. So if you see the show, you know it's all building up to this kind of binary: will this thing happen or won't it?
Yeah.
So in the ending of the show, it does happen, and the characters live with it.
Okay.
The movie that remakes the ending of the show, it happens, but then the characters reject it and return the world to a state of like primordial soup. And then in the rebuild of Evangelion, it doesn't happen. They prevent it. So,
Okay.
it's like I think it's like Neon Genesis Evangelion is like a role-playing video game that only Hideaki Anno is playing, and we're just watching him do it. And he keeps trying to beat it over and over again to get the good ending.
All right, so I have added it to my Netflix queue to watch because I feel like I should. I don't have time to watch it, but I will try to watch it.
You should watch it and then go to Amazon Prime and watch the rebuild.
Which one's the rebuild? Because I have Evangelion, End of Evangelion, and Evangelion Death (parentheses True) close parentheses squared, which throws me off. So is it Evangelion True squared?
No, so there's Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is the show.
Right.
End of Evangelion is the remake of the last 2 episodes of the show.
Where they had a budget, or where they had time to do the animation.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's actually different from the ending of the show. Like,
Right.
It's very, very different.
Okay.
And then Rebuild of Evangelion is 4 movies made over a period of like 15 years that are on Amazon Prime.
And those are worth what's this Evangelion Death?
I don't know. It sounds like a bunch of nonsense.
Okay. Well, that's anime.
Well, yeah, again, why most anime is kind of crap.
Okay, so I will. But the movies on Prime are good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Or is it better to just watch that?
Watch the show first.
Watch the show. Okay. All right. Just like everyone should watch Nope. Awkwardly reworking in the title. So, did you get going back to Nope, awkwardly as I am, did you get first off, did you like the scene of death and evil with Gordy?
I did.
I did too. I thought it was a standout scene in a movie that had a lot of standout moments.
Oh, wait, one last note on on Evangelion. So
Yeah.
if you go to Neon Genesis Evangelion's Wikipedia page,
Oh God.
this is a real paragraph. The popularity of the show spawned numerous additional media, including video games, radio dramas, audiobooks, a novel, pachinko machines, and a tetralogy of films titled Rebuild of Evangelion, which is what I was recommending you see.
Right.
Other derivative works include Angelic Days, Petite Eva, Evangelion at School, Shinji Ikari Rising Project, and Nope. It lists Jordan Peele's Nope as a derivative work of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Dude, that's amazing. That's amazing. Oh my God. That's hilarious. I was just, when you said pachinko machines, apparently they have an HD, like with the Fox Engine remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, all of the cutscenes, but they're
In a pachinko machine?
But it's for a pachinko machine, yeah.
Fuck Konami, man.
It
It's
looks
amazing
really good.
It's amazing that Jordan Peele's Nope is like considered a Neon Genesis Evangelion pachinko machine by Wikipedia.
It's on the same level.
Exactly. According to Wikipedia, it's on the same level.
That's crazy. Like, that's so funny that it's that, like...
It's not that much like Neon Genesis Evangelion. I don't know why. Like, other than the alien's appearance, it's not that much like that show.
I guess it's like I'm looking at Wikipedia and they're like, oh, the monster is on the outside, but also on the inside, which is like, sure.
For Nope?
Yeah, for Nope, on the themes and inspiration.
Dude, the thing about the movie,
critic.
okay, every Jordan Peele movie that comes out, people are like, this is the deepest shit ever. It's so profound. I don't know what it means, though. Nope is definitely the most, like, It's just like it says right at the beginning what it's about. Like, our
Yeah.
obsession with spectacle is not good. That's the
Yep.
theme. The end.
Our obsession with spectacle is not good. Now sit down and watch my spectacle movie.
Exactly. It's self-aware, guys.
Therefore, it is art house, but also it's big budget and normies like it. Therefore, it's good.
I mean,
business.
it's like, I don't know. It works okay. It works way better than fucking Jurassic World does. That's for damn sure.
Oh, I was gonna say it works better than, because like my problem with Us, one, I didn't like the twist at the end, and two, I was thinking about how like they have that montage of like, oh, I'm walking in the marketplace, and then they cut to like the lower section, and the people are like dragging themselves in the marketplace, and I'm like, okay, but explain how like if someone gets on a plane, what happens?
They move really fucking fast.
Like they're just dragged through a bunch of concrete walls underneath freaking Santa.
Go right into a concrete wall at like 400 miles. No, like 150 miles an hour.
Like that was where the whole movie. I was like, but that's like it's just as simple as like the whole movie to me broke down. Like that.
Yeah, but like
it was a weird.
So Us works thematically in that it has a bunch of things that don't totally make sense, but like as a metaphor, they work really well.
Us is like a quiet place where like if you think about it too much, it's like, yeah, why don't people build civilizations or houses near waterfalls? Like, so that's what Us is like to me. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but A Quiet Place is like doesn't have anything to say. At least Us, it's got some cool visuals. It's got that weird underground world that's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. It's got a split diopter shot to die for.
For every person who's wealthy in a first world country, there's a person somewhere else who just suffers immeasurably so that their lifestyle can exist. It's like, yes, themes, book reports. Give it to me, Jordan.
I mean, Us has a soft spot for me because of Santa Cruz, but that's about it. But no, I agree. What I like about Jordan Peele though is like he is able to do kind of what everyone enjoy. Well, not everyone. All of us film nerds enjoy, where it's like, let me make this movie. It's going to be entertaining first, and it's going to have fun little digs at society. And then specifically with this one, it's going to have all of my nerdy favorite things that I ever wanted to put in a movie.
Yeah. That's one of the things I really like about him is that like he's not making these like super unusual art films. He's making standard Hollywood blockbuster type movies really, really well, and they're all original.
I think it's funny because to me the conversation around him is like, oh, he is making these really crazy, really great art house movies, and then you watch it and it's like, I know I've harped on it a lot, but like the freaking Akira motorcycle slide, I was like, this is so dorky. Like, it's so dorky, but so freaking cool.
Yeah.
I forgot that you could just do that in movies. Like, hey, this is a reference I like. I'm just going to throw it in there. But like, there's like there's the fun surface level things. And then there's the whole like, Muybridge shot a black man on, well, he didn't shoot him, but like he recorded a black man on a horse. And then that effect of like, oh yeah. And we always like, they kind of bring it up in, The Harder They Fall, where it's like most of the cowboys were black dudes and like, were black people because they needed a job, and there were a lot of them and they could wrangle the horses, but that's all been sort of eliminated because of Western movies that have this idealized view of like homoeroticism between a bunch of, John Wayne characters. And so it's like he's got that where he gets to put Daniel Kaluuya and make him a modern day cowboy, and it's like, dude, when you put it like that, that's awesome. But just as
fun. Vague and mysterious as the trailers for this movie were, if you just had a card that said Cowboy Jaws with Daniel Kaluuya as the cowboy, I'm like, I'm in. That's all I needed.
So Kevin Smith was trying to make a movie called Moose Jaws back when he was making a bunch of like really weird horror movies that were not particularly good.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's just Jaws with a moose. Like Alien Jaws featuring Daniel Kaluuya as the cowboy. Like, yeah, I'm down. It's cowboys versus aliens, but better.
Oh, it's so much better than the actual Cowboys versus Aliens.
Although I did, after rewatching Cowboys versus Aliens, I did enjoy it. I did have a fair amount of enjoyment on it. Because you got Harrison Ford. That's fun.
Does he molest anyone in that movie?
No. But Olivia Wilde does walk out of a fire without clothes, so it's possible he was going to be like, I don't like fast aliens. And then, bad things.
It's the years and the mileage, honey.
My voice gets gravelier every year. Daniel Craig's in it too.
Yep.
It's good. Cowboys versus Aliens is good, but
No, it's not. Don't say that.
Cowboys versus Aliens is fine, but Nope is really good. I was like, this is the new. I'm just gonna slide out every copy of Cowboy versus Aliens, just replace it with a DVD of Nope. Like, what? He's a cowboy. Where's
He
Daniel
is.
Craig?
He fights
It's got
an alien.
Daniel in it.
It's got a British Daniel playing an American.
I do feel bad though, because I feel like I don't know. I'm torn because I found Keke Palmer's character really annoying, and I feel like she could have been a bit better, but I also feel like she had to be annoying.
I don't know. I just
That's the
accept that
stuff-
her character was really annoying.
Just like how they would always have kids in TV shows and movies, and it's like, I found this kid annoying, and finally they stopped having annoying kids in movies and TV shows, and like everyone was happy. It's like, she doesn't have to be annoying.
I mean, she makes her character makes Otis Jr. like shine even brighter, I think, because she's so annoying.
Yeah. Also, we didn't talk about Angel Torres, the Fry's electronics salesman. Angel Torres in Nope. Apparently, the actor had to fight to make sure his character lived, which, you know what? Good for him. Like, we watch all of these movies where characters die because we need emotional impact. It's enough emotional impact that not only did Keith David die, but also renowned cinematographer Michael Wincott's character died as well. So
that was unfortunate. I was hoping he'd make it to the end, but like anytime Michael Wincott shows up, there's like a 80% chance he dies.
Yeah, it's pretty high. Also, it's not all that surprising when he like gets the camera and climbs to the top of the mountain. I'm like, oh, I see what you did there, climbing the mountain. I gotcha. Little on the nose, but like it makes sense because the guy's clearly nuts. I mean, the only reason he goes out there is because there's like a bunch of people just got eaten.
Exactly.
Did you feel like the emotional stakes for Daniel Kaluuya's character were high enough, given the fact that the reason the father died was because of the alien?
Kind of. I mean, you get the vibe as the movie goes on that like both of them didn't really like their dad all that much. So it seemed like it was more just he's trying to save the family business, which is all he knows.
Yeah, and the world. Yeah, that would have been the only thing of like, it seemed like he was close to his dad, but I guess he wasn't really because his dad wasn't exactly a great guy. So, as they say, he was very of his time. So, yeah, it's funny because I remember I came out of it and I was like, well, what was the point of those Gordy scenes? I was hoping that they would come back to it where, like, there was some connection between, like, the alien and Gordy and stuff. And it's just as simple as, like you said earlier, you try to control something that is not controllable, something bad happens, and all of a sudden terrible things occur.
It's also Steve Yeun's character repeats
and it can
the same mistake that
right,
the people before him did.
That too. Yeah, and also, I mean, I saw a bunch of articles that came out and they're like, oh, his deep, Jordan Peele's deep commentary on Hollywood, and Logan Paul doesn't understand. And now I have to go back and see what they meant by that, but I also think it's interesting, like, as a performer for Hollywood, when he then gets his chance to do something, he just kind of recycles it, like what you said, where it's like the lessons that he learned from like this uncontrollable animal eating people's faces,
from this horrible traumatic experience.
Yeah, the lesson he learned was, hey, I can make money off of it, and 2, I can do this too. I can control it. I know better than them.
Yeah.
I think that's funny and satisfying. So
well, it's Jordan Peele echoing one of our favorite sentiments, which is Hollywood always learning the wrong lessons from something.
He must listen to the podcast.
You must. Like with Mad Max Fury Road, it's like, wow, what a great movie. What lessons can we take away from it, Hollywood? Make everything orange.
Make everything orange. Cut faster. Cut faster. No. 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 It's like, at least they could have learned to, like, hire Tom Hardy in more movies. But
You would think.
I think.
But he's too busy doing Taboo or whatever.
God, I wish. I actually never watched it. I never watched the whole thing.
I watched the first 2 episodes. It's not that good.
Dang. That sucks. Ridley Scott, Tom Hardy, and Stephen Knight let me down. Then again, I feel like Stephen Knight lets a lot of people down with his movies. Apparently, I'm the only one who really likes his stuff.
You are the only person who's like a big Stephen Knight stan.
Ooh, did you hear? Stephen Knight made a movie about fishing and video games starring Matthew McConaughey.
Fishing Simulator.
You know,
Starring Matthew McConaughey.
God, if Hideo Kojima made a fishing simulator, I would be there.
If Hideo Kojima made a fishing simulator, it would be that movie. I was talking to my brother the other day.
Terrible movie.
You know how like a lot of people are getting introduced to Metallica through Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wonder if they're gonna seek out Metallica now, and I wonder what they'll think of it, after being introduced to it through this format. But I was thinking also of how Metal Gear lives on through memes, as Hideo Kojima predicted in Metal Gear Solid 2. Sons of Liberty.
Right. Wrong kind of memes, but yeah. Well, actually, yeah.
No, right kind of memes.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people have discovered it from memes and then go play the games and are like, oh, I wonder what these are about. And they just get treated to a 5-minute cutscene of young Ocelot spinning revolvers and nothing else. And then just like, what the fuck? When does this cutscene end?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. The first Metal Gear Solid game I played all the way through was Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, and when that scene with Ocelot came on and he's just twirling his revolvers in a mix of like full motion and slow motion, I was like, you know what sport I need to get in on? Revolver twisting. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then in Metal Gear Solid 3, when he has 2 of them, now there are 2 of them. I was like, yes, dude, this is awesome. Yeah. The only thing that I'm not a fan of Kojima's is his, I guess, very Japanese sense of sexuality is a little old, little outdated. Snake hitting on every girl he can see. It's like, ugh.
Have you played Metal Gear Solid 5?
I haven't finished it.
Okay.
I started it and then I kind of just stopped.
You've gotten to Mother Base though?
No.
No.
But I'm familiar with a lot of the stuff with Quiet because it's popped up where there's a lot of
well, not just Quiet, but also the weird anime posters all over Mother Base.
Oh yeah. Well, in Metal Gear Solid 2, you could take pictures. There's a bunch of pictures of girls in bikinis and stuff, and you could take pictures of them. And I, at least in the Tanker chapter, Otacon would make comments about it, oh, Snake, you're not supposed. Those aren't the kinds of pictures you're supposed to take. I'll just put this on the backup hard drive for research later, So, or hear him if you get into a locker with one of those pictures and you look at it, you can hear him panting and stuff. Yeah. Look, they toned a lot of that down for Death Stranding. Okay, they went in the opposite direction, where Fragile is just an old
Norman
woman.
Reedus's butt for the whole movie, or the whole game.
So much Norman Reedus butt. Yeah. His obsession with bringing older actresses make them younger again.
One comment on Nope.
Yep.
The sound design is excellent as well.
Yeah.
Again, coinciding with a lot of those overhead shots not overhead shots, but POV shots of the sky and the ship, running around up there.
Well, even I'm a big fan of the movie because like holistically it's good. Like the sound design's good, the cinematography's good. There, I said it. Hoyt van Hoytema, your cinematography and sci-fi stuff. Yes, I get it.
Ha ha ha!
Creature,
You admit it.
creature design, the music, it's just I actually kind of since I've been talking with you, oh god, for 2 hours now, 2.5. It does make me want to go back and like possibly watch it in IMAX to see what kind of effect it has, like the scale of
That
it.
could be
and
worth
everything.
it.
There was something else I was like, yeah, it's just like as a whole, the movie works really well. Oh, the CG and the use of like and how they used it. You know, it's like you know the best visual effects because some of it, like when the creature's in its saucer form and it's darting between clouds, I was like, okay, well, there's where you save on budget. You know, like you don't get to see it very much and it's gone without a trace. All right, cool, not bad. But then you have, you know, okay, there's a couple of really crazy moments, and I don't know how much of it was practical or CG. Like, they would have those big vistas, and in movies like No Country for Old Men, you see the clouds, and it creates shadows on the ground because the clouds are so massive and the space is so open. And you actually get a good number of those shots in this. I don't know how many of those were, you know, done with, you know, practically like, oh, the clouds cover, or if it was CG. But it's one of those effects that, like, it's incredibly impactful. And if it is computer generated, you don't know that it's, you know, you just kind of get lost in the effect. It's so subtle, but so powerful.
Yeah.
And then the design of the alien too. Like, obviously you're looking at it and you're like, I understand that it's fake, but if you just take like the CG model and just plant it in there without accounting for all of these other various factors that you have no idea is going on, it can just break the whole reality of it, even if it's fake looking, because it has to integrate into the environment really well. Sounds like I sound like one of those crackpots. What I mean to say is, it seems like such a simple alien design. It seems like it would be so simple to put it in there. I'm sure it was a lot harder to do. And the fact that the alien evolved was really cool too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, what the alien itself is well executed, but it's like you said, it's everything around the alien that has to sell the believability of it.
Yeah.
That they do really well.
It's good. Also, fun fact. Jesse Plemons turned down a role in this in favor of starring in Killers of the Flower Moon. And that makes me sad. I don't know who he would have played, but I think they were saying he might have been like the Stephen Yeun character, or he would have been the Fry's employee. Either way, I would have been so here for it.
Oh, man. I would have wanted Daniel. He's Daniel Kaluuya's adopted brother.
Oh, my God.
He's the Keke Palmer
plays the
character.
Keke Palmer character. Hey guys, so did you know that Muybridge is my great grandfather? Just imagining him do that line. Oh my gosh. You know what's funny? This is like very off topic, but like you're talking about how like the sound design was good and the cinematography and the performances and everything. I saw another movie. It was called Miss Harris Goes to Paris. Because the wife wanted to see it. That was another movie where it was like everything about the movie is done really well. Like they talk about you know, in Touch of Evil, how Orson Welles had no connection to the story. I don't know if the director had a connection to the story, but I like to imagine that he didn't care about the movie. He just wanted to make a movie, but he made sure to, kind of like Scorsese with The Departed, he cranked all of the stuff he liked about movie making up to 11 to make sure that everything was done really well and really seamless, because I was about halfway through the movie and I was like, this movie's edited really well and it has really good sound design. I was like, and this is Miss Harris Goes to Paris. Like, this is like, no one needs to have really good sound design in this movie. It should be invisible. So anyway, there you go. I can connect Miss Harris Goes to Paris to Nope. I feel so disappointed in myself.
Miss Harris Goes to Paris.
Or Mrs. Harris, yeah. With Academy Award winner Leslie Manville. She's in another movie about dresses.
Okay.
Because she was in Phantom Thread.
know.
She was the sister
Oh.
in Phantom Thread.
I don't know these things. I don't know any other actors in Phantom Thread besides
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, I don't even know who his co-star was.
His co-star was his book of dress designs. And his teapot.
His co-star was his meat cleaver.
Apparently, Turner Classic Movies is showing Phantom Thread.
Wow.
Turner Classic Movies has come a long way.
They're redefining what is considered a classic.
I think, speaking of classic, I think we kind of covered this already, but like, would you consider Jordan Peele a superstar director at this point?
Considering the media like gives him a snow job anytime he comes out with a new movie, to quote Tom Hanks. Yeah, I'd say he's a superstar.
Yeah. I like how you compared him to, like, he's kind of like a Christopher Nolan because, you know, there's like the different levels, right? There's like the Tarantinos who came from indie film and have made it big, and he makes a lot of money, but probably not to the degree that, like, you know, I don't know, John McTiernan or Steven Spielberg were at one time. So normally I would kind of go like, oh yeah, Jordan Peele's kind of like a Tarantino because he wears you know his influences on his sleeve and things like that. But I like your comparison to Nolan better, where it's like, although Jordan Peele kind of like came out of the gate really well with Get Out, and he just, even though to me Us is a little bit lesser of a movie,
it is
like it's still better than, you know, 80% of the movies, 90% of the movies that came out that year. It was still like top of the line.
It is.
So it's interesting to see. Like, I'm glad Nope did well. I was really excited, and he's like Leonardo DiCaprio. Remember when they were like, "Oh, Marvel movies are the only movies that make money, except for Leonardo DiCaprio when his name is on a movie." It's like, all right, guys, all right. But like, I think Jordan Peele's kind of like that superstar level where like they put his name on a movie, and you're like, oh yeah, you don't think of him as, oh, that guy from Key and Peele who's like, sup, in that one sketch with Aaron. Now you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I never thought that Jordan Peele was like
Mad TV's Jordan Peele.
Keanu's Jordan Peele. You remember Keanu with the cat?
I didn't watch it, so no.
Keanu Reeves makes a cameo as the voice of the cat. Yeah.
Meow.
I wasn't. Hey guys, you have to rescue me, and remember, consequences. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about on Nope? Now that we've gone everywhere.
Not really. It's very good.
It is.
As expected.
Yep. It's very good, but probably not in the way that you'd think. And yeah, you should definitely see it.
Yep. Cowboy Jaws with Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh, I was going to say, where do you think it stands with, like, so Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Northman? What else do you have on your list of movies that you really liked so far this year?
Hold on, let me pull up my list
Ooh.
of movies that I've seen this year.
I should keep a list. The Gray Man is number 1, dude.
Bro.
Anthony and Joe Russo trying to revitalize the mid-budget movie. Jordan Peele over here doing it.
Never mind, I never made the list. Hold on. I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once is still number 1.
Okay.
Like, by far. Okay. Then Northman's probably number 2. Let me see what came out this year.
Dude, Coda's number 3. Come on, man.
Fuck no. It's probably this and The Batman tied for number 3.
I forgot the Batman.
I have a hard time picking between the two. Yeah.
God, that was good. All right, what else came out then?
Yeah, it's like this, The Batman, then probably Men.
Oh yeah, Men came out too. You mean Thor: Love and Thunder isn't on your list? It just got pulled out of Malaysia because there was a reference to homosexuality.
Dude, Thor: Love and Thunder is so blech.
Did you see it?
Yeah. I saw it with a bunch of coworkers.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness also came out.
Also blech.
No, that's a lie. It was anywhere between fine and a witness.
It was anywhere between This Kind of Sucks and High Witness.
and sometimes in the same scene.
Depending on which part of the movie you're in.
Yeah. Well, if they wanted to argue with us on our list of movies that are kind of slapped together, where would they go?
If you want to tell us what you think Nope is about, email us at video@underthewheels.com. Also find us on YouTube or Apple Podcasts. Leave a review, follow us on social media, all that shit. You already know at this point. Unless you're new, in which case you don't know. In which case, sorry.
In which case, go watch Morbius, because that's definitely on our list.
Oh yes, it's Morbin time, as they say in that movie, which is it's a real line from that movie.
Why does Jared Leto keep getting roles in movies?
You know what's crazy is the Minions: Rise of Gru made a shitload of money through the same set of memes that caused Morbius to release twice and fail both times.
I'm kind of weird in that I appreciate Illuminations. I feel like it's I feel like they're the company that go ahead and just shit on Illuminations. Because they're probably the least artistic animation studio around. You know, everything they do is just for driving profit forward. With that said, they are incredibly good at being in touch with sort of the cultural surrounding, and they make a ton of money. The budget for Minions: Rise of Gru, every movie they make has a slightly higher and higher budget, and not everything they do is good. But Rise of Gru, $80 million budget, they're at $700 million in box office revenue.
So I took a film class one time where the professor was talking about the four demographics: men, women, young, old. Mm-hmm. Those are your four quadrants that movies try to target, right?
Right.
And they're saying that most movies target young men. Second most movies target old men. It's like the Clint Eastwood movies. And then there's a decent chunk of content for young women. And they're saying that the most underserved and therefore the most sort of lucrative, potentially demographic, is old women.
Miss Harris goes
Illumination,
to Paris.
That is their target. The Minion memes, all the Facebook moms share, that's what they've capitalized on.
The thing is...
It's marketing genius.
The thing is, I would actually argue that Minions targets everything but young men. And yet it's
not targeting dads. It's not a dad movie.
You'd be surprised. They've got that's why it's weird. Illuminations movies are weird. It basically put Pharrell Williams on the map with the first Despicable Me. Rise of Gru, one of the major characters is played by, oh my god, Alan Arkin is one of the major characters in the movie as an old man. Okay, I saw Minions: Rise of Gru, okay? Because I
can tell.
I appreciate I don't know, there's something about Illumination's model that it's I guess I have a similar affinity to what you had for DreamWorks Animation. Where it's I feel like DreamWorks puts out a lot of just baseless, soulless crap, but some of it's done really well and some of it's done really badly. I would say that for Illuminations, it's everything that they do is somewhere in the middle. It's enjoyable entertainment. There's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of good meanings. Everything has a very appealing look to it. And I'm personally not a huge fan of the Minions as characters. But I don't know. It's such a weird studio. You're right. They are targeting older women because Sing and Sing 2 is it's kind of all of the music is pop 40 hits that you're probably listening to if you still listen to the radio and Ryan Seacrest. So maybe you're right. Maybe they do just aggressively target that that group.
The lady who is crying at Elvis, I think she's like the target audience for Illumination.
Well, and the other thing is like they make these movies that like you're looking at it and it's like, oh yeah, this should be for kids, but kind of like the best of the kind of subversive animated films have enough adult references that you're like, ooh, that's dirty, and the kids are like in on like a little joke. It's like, ooh, this is dirty, and oh, they're violent and they're fun. You know, I don't know. It's weird. It's like all the animators are allowed to sneak in all of their really crazy references to like kung fu movies and all of these other
Like
movies.
the Minions doing 9/11.
Oh my god. Well, to be fair, they at least got the color of the toilet water correct when he's got his little goggles on and it's blue. I was like, that attention to detail. There's some animator out there who's like, this is what, because like toilet water gets stuck in one of their face masks and it's all blue. Like no, you don't. Okay.
I don't know what you're talking
All right,
about.
not important. But anyway, the point is, I feel like kind of guilty for enjoying Illuminations as a company because it does seem like
Probably
they're
should.
just there for making money, but at the same time they're floating Universal's bottom line, and Universal's making Oppenheimer, so
And no.
and Nope, so you know you got to support the brand, I guess. Plus, again,
Is Illuminations the football program that lifts up all the other sports teams? If Universal didn't have Illumination, there would be no Nope. There would be no Oppenheimer.
I would just say Illumination, like Universal has done a good job of diversifying their assets. Because Nope is going to bring them a shit ton of money. Hopefully. We'll see, actually. Because it only just made back its budget. So who knows? Yeah.
It's been out for a
You know
while,
what?
so.
You know what? I agree with you. I'm going to say Illumination right now is what's keeping Universal afloat. Just like Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise is keeping freaking
The
Paramount.
deal with the devil is what's keeping Paramount afloat.
Skydance, that giant ball of red, it's not the sun. It's the hell with Tom Cruise. On that note, I'm Matthew,
And I'm Gabe.
and you've just been Under the Wheels. I'm sorry about your
It's
your-
okay. It's
your
it's
death
just a,
illness.
it's more of a nuisance at this point than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what your chances are of catching COVID in a crowded, fully sold out theater playing Elvis with a woman loudly weeping next to you.
Did she also get a lady boner when Elvis started thrusting his hips? Was she like, did like the whole theater go in slow motion as her eyes slowly got larger and larger, and then she just reached out to the screen? Austin Butler, I need you on me now.
Maybe. I feel like there were a lot of lady boners in that theater, but
They were for Tom Hanks.
yeah, they wanted a snow job.
You know what's funny is like if I didn't have a chance to see Nope, I would have said like, "Hey man, we should watch The Gray Man."
The Gray Man, Jesus. I thought we would be doing Elvis if it wasn't for Nope.
Oh yeah, we could have, but I guess it's good that. How did you like Elvis?
It was pretty bad, honestly. Like it's got its moments. Like Austin Butler does a really good job. A lot of the actors who aren't Tom Hanks are pretty good in it.
Yeah.
And then Tom Hanks is just horrendous. Every time he says snow job, I'm just like, dude, every time you say that, I think you're like, I just imagine this fat, disgusting, corpuscent man rolling around the carnival, blowing people and taking money out of their wallets while they're distracted.
But you're gonna sing it, Here Comes Santa Claus. You're gonna sing it, Here Comes Santa Claus.
Sing it, here comes the Santa Claus. I still don't know what accent he was trying to do. I know the Colonel's supposed to be Dutch. I have never heard that accent before in my life.
The truth is, I did not kill Elvis. You kill Elvis. Either 50-50. Victor Navorsky is still his best foreigner that he's ever played in The Terminal.
He
I go
sounds
New
like
York. I go New York.
He sounds like Mario.
They got the wrong guy. They should have.
Wahoo!
Forget
it's a
Chris
snow
Pratt.
job.
What? Oh, Princess Peach, he wanted a snow job. Have you seen that Robot Chicken sketch where Mario and Luigi go to Vice City?
No.
Or Liberty, I'm sorry, they go to Liberty City.
No, I have not.
They're like looking around, they're like, hey, the Princess Peach. And it's a hooker. It's like, you want me to suck your dick? And Mario's like, hey, Princess Peach. And Luigi's like, do you take the coin? It's so, if you haven't seen it, it's so good. It's so good.
I'd say Elvis also suffers from being a Baz Luhrmann movie where everything happens like 1.5 times too fast.
And yet nothing happens at all.
And yet it's unbearably long. I also couldn't wait for the movie to be over. Once it got to the part where he was like in Vegas and singing Suspicious Minds super on the nose, Ali, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this movie to end, and there's like 45 more minutes.
We can't travel international, Elvis. We travel international, we run into Bowser. I've been trying to, for about a week, I was trying to work my way through Australia just to see, like, maybe it is good, actually. And it's not. It's
Just watch Strictly Ballroom. It's the only movie he's ever done that's not painful to sit through.
I feel like it's one of those things like, he's like the shitty version of Louis Spunel, where it's like, all of his movies are interesting, but as opposed to Louis Spunel, where you want to watch them because it's good interesting, this is like, they're interesting, but not necessarily in a good way. Although, especially in Elvis, there were so many times where he was like zooming in on a shot that he had shot at like, he probably shot it at 4K, but by the time he was done zooming in, it looked like it was like 480. I was like, why are you zooming in so far on these shots? What are you doing, man? So, yeah, Baz Luhrmann. I appreciate it. I appreciate him for doing his thing. But, you know what? We have Jordan Peele, so it's fine. We don't need any more Baz Luhrmann.
He's got like this weird... it's just... I don't know why people enjoy his, like, coked out Dolly Parton Liberace from Hell aesthetic that he's got in every movie.
Go ahead.
Oh, everything's like super shiny. Everyone's covered in rhinestones and eyeliner, and everything's going way too fast. And yeah, like the camera moves don't make any sense. It's all super frenetic. It's like like watching old baseball tapes from the Ken Burns baseball documentary when they say like, "Oh, Ty Cobb was so fast," and then there's like
you just have sped up footage.
There's footage of Ty Cobb running at 8 frames per second.
I'm kind of weird in that like I appreciate his Romeo and Juliet movie because it's a good way to get people to start thinking about the movie. Plus, there's a lot of like really great moments, like when Paul Rudd is dancing with Claire Danes and he's like acting like an idiot and she completely breaks character and just loses her shit and they try and recover it. And Baz Luhrmann was like, "This is great. We're putting it in the movie." That like there's moments like that. There's moments of very bad Leonardo DiCaprio acting, very bad Claire Danes acting. What's his name? Paul Sorvino, rest in peace, singing opera for some reason. Like there's all these like nice little moments in it, but man, the end of that, they just like completely screw over the end of the movie. Like it's just so bad. But I actually,
that doesn't surprise me.
I don't hate his Great Gatsby movie as much as a lot of people do.
Oh, I have a strong visceral hatred of that movie.
Really?
Yeah, because I tried watching it, or I tried watching bits of it, and I thought I was gonna have an aneurysm.
The beginning is so hard to focus on, but then it starts to kind of slow down a little bit It's like, the less Baz Luhrmann-y it is, the better it is. That's terrible to say.
It is true though.
It is.
Well, it's like I didn't see it from the beginning. I just saw various scenes from the middle.
Oh.
And yeah, they're really bad. They're tremendously bad. Tremendously bad.
Do you have your spit bucket there so you can?
No, I don't. I should have brought it over. And then, you know what the worst one is Moulin Rouge.
I watched Moulin Rouge under protest, so I cannot validate it one way or another.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
I just know that I just didn't like it at all when I was
All
watching
I know
it.
is I don't understand what John Leguizamo is saying at any point in that movie.
Or why he's a midget.
Well, doesn't he play Toulouse-Lautrec?
Yes. I have no idea.
So Toulouse-Lautrec was very short.
Jim Broadbent, just doing his best Jim Broadbent. It's like the supporting characters in most of Baz Luhrmann's movies are better than the main characters in Baz Luhrmann's movies.
With the exception of Elvis.
With the exception of Elvis. Well, yeah. Star Tom Hanks. I am the point of view character. I'm the star. Elvis is just a sideshow.
He's just a snow job.
It's just a snow job. All that stuff is really interesting about Elvis's life, though. But they gloss over so much of the actually compelling and interesting stuff that it's kind of sad how sanitized it is. Like, isn't Elvis great when all these other people were going? It's like they cut to fat Elvis at the end, and I was like, man, Elvis sure liked his peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But there's a lot of interesting stuff about Elvis, and I think they do a good enough job at the end of being like, Elvis lost all reason to live, and therefore just ate his weight in
kind of just
buffet
keeled
food.
over, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird though at the end when instead of showing him like die on a toilet, they have him they have his plane flying off into heaven, and he recites the bird with no feet thing. And I'm just like, I saw Days of Being Wild last night. And you're saying this again now. You're quoting it word for word in fucking Elvis.
Wait, is Days of Being Wild, is that a Wong Kar Wai film?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you watch it on HBO Max?
No, I own The World of Wong Kar Wai, which I got for 50% off. Because there's no way in hell I'm paying full price for that shit.
I don't like Wong Kar Wai movies enough to buy it, except I finally watched In the Mood for Love, and I rewatched Fallen Angels, and I was like, I should watch Chungking Express.
I will say, I love Wong Kar Wai movies. I think they're like the best thing ever.
I love, even though it's like a drug-fueled trip, I love Fallen Angels.
Fallen Angels is great. It's so good, but it's bizarre because it's like everything's in a fisheye lens.
I know.
So I feel like it's like oh god, I feel like I'm stuck inside like a skate video from the early 2000s.
And what's his name? The killer dude. He's like walking in to do his job, and like the music is all. It's like Market Street from Final Fantasy VII, and then suddenly you just hear a guy go like he's like talking in like Mandarin or Cantonese, and all of a sudden he's just like, "'Cause I'm cool." Like, what is this? No, I love like I will say that like I was watching it and I was like, I remember this movie being really good, and then there's like a 5-minute scene of a girl masturbating on the guy's bed, and I was like, I was just like watching it in the back room. I was like, oh my god, if Aaliyah walks in on me, I have no idea what she's gonna think.
Why are you watching the movie in the bathroom and not on the biggest screen you can find?
No, not the bathroom. My back room.
Oh, back room.
I was watching it on my computer.
Thought you were sitting on the toilet watching Fallen Angels.
On my phone, like zooming in because of the wide angle lenses, and all of a sudden it's just like her feet in my face, like ah! So yeah, that was like, oh, I understand why it's in
shot.
there. Oh god. I understood why the shot was in there. I also didn't quite understand the point of no, Takeshi Kitano. No, not Takeshi Kitano. Who was that guy?
The Japanese guy.
Yeah, the guy from
Japanese
Onimusha.
name.
Yeah, Onimusha guy. I didn't understand why he was in there until like the end.
Well, that's
I guess.
almost. I don't know what it is like. Wong Kar Wai's very first movie, As Tears Go By, has like a main character, and the main character is the main character of the movie and does main character shit. Mm-hmm. And then like every movie after that has like it's an ensemble cast, and it kind of just drifts between them aimlessly. So there's no main character, and like there's people who are like, why are they in the movie? And then they suddenly become really important in the last 5 minutes. So there's like he makes a bunch of movies that are like that. Chungking Express is like that. Also, Fallen Angels is full of Chungking Express references.
It was supposed to be part of Chungking Express, and he spun it off into another movie.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Even
What's your
more
favorite?
evidence.
I also saw In the Mood for Love. So
That's
what was
one
your
of the best movies ever made. That's probably my favorite of his.
Yeah. Why do you like it so much? I thought it was good. I just wasn't. I was like, I couldn't like sit down and just like sit through the whole thing though. Like, I know his style, but I've never been able to just sit down through an entire movie of his.
Huh. Interesting.
So why do you like that one better than The Grandmaster?
I haven't seen The Grandmaster.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
It was good. It's good. I mean, it's kind of Wong
Are all
Kar
the
Wai.
action sequences in that weird like they like 8 frames a second slow motion?
I forgot what
Where
it's called. I looked up a video on it.
Everything just
No,
turns into streaks of light.
no, but some of them are.
Nice.
Yeah, and also some moments are.
Okay.
Let's see, what is it called? What is the Wong Kar Wai effect? I spelled car wrong. Step printing. I was thinking of trying to do step printing on my own by taking a video. I know we've gone so far off topic. Take a video, put it in a timeline where the timeline is only like 8 frames a second or 12 frames a second. Export the video, bring it back in, and then stretch it out to 20 frames or 24 frames a second and see if it gets a similar look.
Yeah.
It won't because of the motion blur, but
It's
yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool if it worked.
I know, I'll try it out.
Yeah, his movies are awesome. I wish all movies could be like his movies. Take it back. Not all movies, but more movies.
Well, don't you not like? I thought you didn't like voiceover.
That's the thing. I was thinking about this yesterday because I watched Fallen Angels last night after
Okay.
drinking so much whiskey I couldn't play video games anymore.
Why? I'm worried about the amount of whiskey you're drinking now.
It's only on occasion. Yeah, I was thinking, it's like, man, he is the one guy who uses voiceover well, because like so much of his movies are people just walking around looking cool and like, hey, isn't Hong Kong like an interesting place to be in the 90s? So yeah, the voiceover works really well. And like the bird with no feet thing in Days of Being Wild, that's all done in voiceover. It's brought up, it's said at the beginning and then brought up again at the end, in a very like poignant and emotionally resonant way. Not so much the case with Elvis.
So then, In the Mood for Love is your favorite Wong Kar Wai film?
Yeah,
Just
it's
because
one of the
it's
best
like-
movies I've ever seen, like bar none.
So where does it rank on your list? Like Apocalypse Now is number 1.
Yeah, I mean, In the Mood for Love is like top 20 all time, probably.
Top 5?
20.
Okay. All right. All right.
Also, you should see As Tears Go By. It's like it'll make you want to make an 80s action movie.
Ooh, it's an action. It's an action movie from him.
It's not an action movie. It's like a crime movie, but it's got some action in it. But it is so 80s-tastic. It's like, I don't know. It's like what Kung Fury is trying to be, but it's also an art film
Okay.
and a crime movie.
I'm so sad.
And it's directed by Wong Kar Wai.
Like, he's great. I really like his stuff and I like his style. I just have the hardest time sitting down and just going all the way through
How?
it.
All his movies are 90 minutes on the dot.
I don't know. I don't know why. I wish I could explain it. I think maybe it's just his style overload is like, I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. Okay. I need
a smoke break.
more like it's like eating like a really delicious cake. And then suddenly I'm like, all right, give me my potato chips or my steak. This is too flavorful and sweet. Yeah. I think one thing I have to do though is go and see one of his movies in theaters. So if he ever makes another movie, probably go and see it in theaters if I can.
As if any theater will show it.
That's true.
In this day and age.
Well, they show a lot of Indian movies.
Is there a big Indian population where you are?
I'm gonna assume there is because, like, let's see, IMC.
Because let me tell you, in the one place where there's a lot of Asian people, including South Asian people, theaters will play Indian movies. But outside of that one city, no other theaters do that.
I remember where we went to college, they would have a lot.
Yeah, there's the Woodbridge Theater would always have like a couple Bollywood musicals floating around, in addition to the regular stuff. And then like a lot of theaters are playing RRR, just because that's become like a meme.
I was gonna say, don't they know they can play that? All right, well, Vikrant Rona is not playing at the movie theater I normally go to, but sorry, I love how they have the Nicole Kidman AMC intro like on the website. You can watch it anytime. You know what? I've become a fan of that intro. I look forward to seeing it every time.
Yeah. It's better than the Regal intro.
We come to this place for magic. We come to AMC theaters. I'm like, oh my god, so corny, so cringe.
Have you been to a Regal theater lately?
No, I have the AMC Movie Pass.
Okay, so Regal has their own version of that.
Really?
It's just people going to the movie theater, like, you know, ordering popcorn and getting into their seats. But all the dialogue is like famous quotes from movies. But they're all out of context, so they all come off as just non sequiturs. Like, they don't make any sense in the way they're being used in this little thing. It's like, hi, what can I get you? I'll have a large popcorn. This is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship. Here's looking at you, kid. And then it's just like, what?
I wish that they still had the great movie ride at Disney's Hollywood Studios, so we could go on it. We could just cringe at the enjoy and cringe at it, because like they've got like they would have these like dioramas. I loved it. It was my favorite ride, obviously, but they'd have these dioramas of different places. Like they'd have Wizard of Oz. They were gonna put the tornado from Wizard of Oz, but they ran out of budget, so they put Mickey Mouse from Sorcerer's Apprentice in there. They have John Wayne and Clint Eastwood. They've got a reference to The Public Enemy.
Oh, wow.
They had Aliens. So they have like a weird looking Sigourney Weaver with a flamethrower, and like the xenomorph comes out. It's like a xenomorph at a Disney park. Okay. It was great. And then at the end, they would have this montage of like all the different movies. It would start off with like do 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 do, and then you had a bunch of like quotes, again out of context, where it's like, see, insert famous movie line. Show me the money.
Yeah, it's like all these famous movie lines are compiled together to form some like weird schizo word salad poetry. You were supposed to save me a seat, Rosebud. Like,
Oh my God.
doesn't make any fucking sense. And I just remember sitting there watching this. It's like, I'm never coming to a Regal theater again as long as this is playing. So I've been going to like Century and Starlight for a while since then.
I went
just to avoid it.
I know we need to get started, but I went to Century type theater because they were all owned by the same company to see Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade because they were having like a Summer Under the Stars. Look at all the classic movies. They were playing Goodfellas too, but I didn't go because my experience watching Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was awful. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't go and see movies in theaters anymore.
Wait, why
Maybe
was it
is
awful?
They, for some reason, they had a problem with the speakers. So I think the way that they had it was they channeled all of the sound, like they had the dialogue on one channel, the sound effects on another, and the music on a third. And half the time, the dialogue channel would just drop completely. And so
it's
there
like
were
my
huge
experience with the Eternals.
Yes. Where all you're hearing is like music and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we had to go out 3 times because it happened like 3 or 4 times, including the moment where Sean Connery and Indiana Jones are sitting on the blimp, and it's like, it's not really plot important, but it's character important. You know, it's like, last time we were here, I had a milkshake. And it's like, it's that nice scene, and and Aaliyah was just like, I have no idea what is going on in this movie because I can't understand any of the dialogue going on.
It's the classical, Hollywood hyper efficient formula script, which works in that case because that movie's so goddamn fun.
Oh my God, that movie's so good. The Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is like the best Indiana Jones movie to me. I think it's pretty close to perfect.
It's not the best, but it is the most charming.
Which one's the best?
I think Raiders is still the best.
The movie where Indiana Jones fails everything he does.
Hell yeah. It's
Or
not the
as
years, honey, it's the mileage.
As the as the Big Bang Theory stated, Aaliyah pointed this. She was like, "No, you got to see this." Apparently, on the Big Bang Theory, they're like, "Isn't Raiders of the Lost Ark the best movie ever?" And like one of the characters who had never seen it, she finally watched it, and she's like, "Yeah, except for the fact that if you take Indiana Jones out of the plot, nothing else changes in the movie, and it like ruins it for the guy." But I was like, "That's not true. They would have never found Marion if it weren't for Indiana Jones."
Bazinga.
Boom. I think Last Crusade is the best, even though like it's got some full on woman hate. I think it's still the best.
Well, it's a product of its time. Indiana Jones is he's typical, 1930s manly man, sexually assaults every woman he sees.
Well, he's also Harrison Ford, which,
also a Harrison Ford character,
movies.
sexually assaults every woman he sees.
It's not the years, honey. It's the mileage, and I don't like fast women. Cute Blade Runner scene.
I never understood what that line meant until I started watching like a lot of fight sports, and then you see like really old 28-year-olds. And I'm like, oh boy. Now it all makes sense.
Or when I was like, oh yeah, Daniel Kaluuya is clearly 40 and he's like younger than I am.
I know. I've never seen a guy age so fast as Daniel Kaluuya. Like he's this fresh-faced child in Get Out, which came out not that long ago, and he's just like this grizzled old man in Nope. He's just like, I'm too old for this shit. And it's like, what? How old is he? He's like 32.
He's very close to my age.
Yeah.
No, he is. Yeah, he's actually older than me. So correction,
Oh, okay.
he's like 2 months older than me.
So he's
month and a couple of
ancient,
days.
basically, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, yeah. He's like, he's like looking at retirement homes already.
I think the other crazy thing is like he plays a teenager in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Right, or like early
But he
20s,
seems way
you know?
older than Chris from Get Out in that movie.
Yeah. It feels like he's been around for a long time. That's why. But Get Out only came out like, what, 5 years ago? 2017?
It was like, what, 2014, 2013, something like that?
2017.
No.
Yeah, Get Out was 2017.
What? No way.
Yeah. I'm looking at the
Holy
Wikipedia page
shit.
right now.
So, yeah, Daniel Kaluuya's been a thing for 6 years, basically.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he has aged like 20 years in that time. Because in Get Out, he's like, it's like, oh, this guy is clearly like 28. And then watching, you know, Judas and the Black Messiah, this guy's like 35, but he's playing a teenager, so that's weird. And then, yeah, in Nope, like, this is a 40-year-old man.
Well, also Widow. I think for me it was Widows that did it. Even though Widows came out a year afterwards, I saw him in that and I was like, oh, because he's acting next to, what's his name, Brian Tyree Henry, and I'm like, oh, Brian Tyree Henry's like, he's got to be like pushing 50-ish. So obviously Daniel Kaluuya's like 40, and I'm like, wait a second, no.
Widows is maybe, it is one of the most slept on movies of recent years. Because it's like, it came out in such a stacked year.
Yeah.
Where like, all of these great movies came out. None of them got any recognition from like the awards shows or anything like that. So they all just sort of flew under the radar. But that movie is so good. And it has like such a loaded cast.
I know.
Because like,
I know.
you know, Viola Davis is always like good. Like she's reliable. Even if she's not like amazing in anything or everything.
Like her mean, like her level of terrible, like when she's bad in something is like most actors good.
Yeah, Viola Davis
good.
on a bad day is most actors on a good day.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, so she's like, she always delivers the goods. You got Liam Neeson, who's just always fun.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Debicki, who's super underrated, turns in fantastic performances in like very small parts.
Yeah, she's in
everything
Great
she
Gatsby.
And then, yeah, you have Daniel Kaluuya and Brian Tyree Henry together at the same time, like two of the boys.
Yep.
Who are like the villains of the movie, and they're great. And like, what other movie has both of them together in all the scenes they're in? And they're both so good and so creepy. And yeah, they're both like, you know, not that old when they seem like 50 in that movie.
Well, don't forget Colin Farrell's in the movie.
Jesus Christ, that's right, Colin Farrell.
Like with his really weird Chicago accent. He's like, the Bears.
Da Bears.
I'm going over to this thing to do this thing. And I'm like, man, Colin Farrell. But Colin Farrell over the last couple of years has also been really good, even if the movie he's in isn't particularly great. Like I have a soft spot for Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman, and Colin Farrell's one of the better characters in it. At least he's not an asshole like everyone else in the movie. So yeah.
Colin Farrell is he's also like a Viola Davis, except Viola Davis tends to play fairly similar characters across movies. Like she plays characters that you can like see as being real people, whereas Colin Farrell only plays cartoon characters in every movie he's in. But he like again, him and Viola Davis on a bad day is like most people's good days.
I think for Colin Farrell, he has to be a supporting actor. There's a couple of exceptions you can make, you know, In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths, if those movies are your thing, which they're not necessarily mine. But just remember, there was a huge group there. Like, he was the lead in
Total Recall.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was not good.
But he was also a supporting character in Minority Report with Tom Cruise, and he was good in that. And supporting character, I look, Daredevil, terrible movie. Colin Farrell, very corny, very over the top,
very good. He's great.
He's
in
great in
Daredevil.
it.
Don't
yeah.
you use
no.
any
I have
other
to. I feel like I have to
qualifying term besides
contextualize
that.
Well, I feel like I have to contextualize it because like the movie is bad and he is fun to watch, but I wouldn't say he was good. I think he kind of rose to the standard of the rest of the movie. Even though, as we all know, I have a very, 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 very large soft spot for Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Robert Duvall is in Widows.
Yep.
Man, all right, we should get started on talking about Nope.
All right, let me.
40 minutes in.
I know. Well, I needed this time to warm up, honestly.
Oh, good. I was thinking if there was a way we could naturally, and we almost naturally transitioned. I was like, well, maybe I could do like a soft open, but like,
I mean,
the cold open would be like forever.
Yeah, I was gonna say you'd have the longest fucking cold open, which is, if you could find a way to do a shorter cold open, like I'm sure that would work. You could do a cold open of us talking about Elvis, and then just awkwardly transition to the bulk of the show, and then at the end have us talk about Widows.
Don't forget that when we talked about Elvis, we also talked about Wong Kar Wai.
Oh yeah, that's right. And snow jobs.
Oh, the direct line between Elvis and Wong Kar Wai and Daniel Kaluuya and Widows.